Just win, baby.
Yo, what's good in your hood? It's your boy Black Quarterback. And we back with another edition of the Bay Area Raiders Talk. You back on the BART, y'all. Happy Friday. We talking QBs. I've been talking about the QBs this week. I'm trying to get people to understand, pre-prepare them for what's going on when camp hit. We're not in some kind of state of delusion or shock when Kirk Cousins ended up being the starting quarterback to start this season. There's a chance I'm wrong, but there's a small, minute chance that I'm wrong. And I'm going to break down what is in the mind of Coach Klint Kubiak. What did he say? How do you know? You don't know what he's thinking. The writing is on the wall. He's told us things. All you have to do is pay attention. And if you haven't been paying attention, I'm going to help with that. So today we're talking about Fernando, El Capitan, Fernando. So I'm going to go over why Klint Kubiak is protecting our future quarterback, and he probably, more than likely, will not start game one. And these are the reasons why, and I'm going to show you what's going on in Kubiak's mind based on what he's told us. So let's get into it. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Let's get into it. It's Friday. I usually do a not so cerebral show. I will have like a kickback our bench show, our smoke show tonight. But right now, I just want to talk about our quarterback, Fernando Mendoza, because I keep seeing a few things about him, and I'm trying to help clear up some things. What's up with me, Sacktown Raider? What's good with you, brethren? Jack Gusto? What's good? What's up with everybody that was ready before we started? Bruce Willis, all the people that liked the video before we even got started. Appreciate it. Raider Age Straight, what's up with you, bro? So let's get into Fernando Mendoza. Now, in order to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, there's a lot of skills and tools that you need in your tool belt to be a successful one. And especially when you're a quarterback and you're getting thrown into the fire, you're really just playing on just straight talent because you don't know what to expect. Sometimes ignorance is bliss. You don't know what to expect, so you just go out there and ball out. And for those that have a lot of skills that ball out, it's good. It's good. But usually year two, and even now, even halfway through the season, teams catch up with the quarterback. That's why they have like a sophomore slump or something like that. But a lot of starting quarterbacks are the rookies that come in, they usually don't do very well as far as win games because there is a jump between college and pros. So, what are some of the things that going to change for Mendoza in the pros? And the most glaring thing to me is the being under the center, playing under the center. Now, a lot of people that has been talking about this, they say that it's not really the biggest of deals. It's not a whole lot of adjustment, and I'm here to tell you there's a lot of adjustments. The adjustments may be so slight and minute that you might not notice those things, but they're big pieces of what makes a successful quarterback in the NFL. So that way the game doesn't catch up with them. So playing under the center, I broke it down into three different parts. Is like footwork, learning the plays, and learning how to deal with the play action. Now, the list is not exhaustive, so there are other things, but I'm just kind of giving you guys like cliff note versions of how to approach this. And as the season goes on in the preseason and we get ready for the season, then I might break some of these things down a little bit more if necessary. But I would say that the footwork is about 60% of playing under center. And then learning the plays is 30%, and learning how to handle play action is 10%. So footwork. This is the one thing that a lot of people don't really understand unless you play quarterback. Footwork is the most important thing to do because anyone can probably throw the ball. Um, we all of us been throwing the ball since we were little, but how do you throw the ball like a quarterback? Do you have a platform for yourself? Or do you have yourself balanced when you throw the ball? Are you aiming towards the target? Is your forearm out pointing towards the target? Those are little small things that make a big difference. And footwork is very, very important. Now, what does the footwork look like for a quarterback that's under center? I likened it to learning how to play salsa. I mean, to do the salsa. I've used this analogy before that you have to learn how to do the dance moves. Yeah, you learn it 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. You learn it, you learn it, you learn it, but you got to learn it to the point where you're not even thinking about it anymore because the footwork is the timing. You want to make sure when you get to the top of your drop, you want to be able to be looking at the defense, knowing where your guy's going to go, and know where you're going with the ball. And it's not as simple as if you're in the shotgun and you get the ball and the ball just coming, and you can see things moving in the shotgun. You can see some blitz coming, maybe that you may not have seen pre-snap. They might bring someone late or something like that, and then you could make an adjustment. But when you're under center, you don't have necessarily that leisure because you're backing up. You still can see, but you don't necessarily see everything out of your peripheral. So, but the good thing for Fernando is he's 6'5" and he can see over that line. If you're a quarterback that's a little shorter, when you're doing your drop back, it's harder to see the defense over the line. That's why height is paramount and premium when you're a quarterback. Uh, So footwork is definitely important. I mean, like the most important. And I'll say 30% of it is learning the plays. These guys are going to learn the plays. Like Mendoza's going to learn the plays. He's a smart guy. We have a smart quarterback room. All our quarterbacks are going to learn the plays. They know the plays. Learning the plays like the back of your hand. That's kind of the thing you have to do as a quarterback is learn the plays. Now the footwork, you might can get away with the footwork a little bit, um, but as you try to make your sharpen your skills in your craft, the footwork is where you start at. Is the base, but that's something you can learn a little bit later. Like they're trying to change. I always forget this dude quarterback name because Justin Herbert overrated. They're trying to change his footwork because sometimes it's all about the timing. It's all about the timing. So they're trying to change his footwork, and this is going to make him a better quarterback if he adheres to it. And then 10% is like play action. Now, the play action, the thing about play action is you do have to take your eye off the ball. I mean, off the defense. That's the only way you're going to sell the run. It's not going to be for a few seconds. I mean, a microsecond or something. It's going to be for like 1 or 2 seconds. If you guys ever remember Peyton Manning, when he gets to snap, he used to hold his hand out so the defense can see that and then pull it back at the last minute. And then you act like you giving him the ball, then you snap your head up and look at your target points. Target points is usually the safeties. You key in the safeties to see how the defense is rotating. So you are taking your eyes off the ball for a couple seconds. When you go into play action, when you take your eyes off for a couple seconds and you look up and you key in the safety, what you're looking for is sometimes to see if the linebacker has bit, see if the safety is bit, see if the safety has moved over, because you know what routes you have going, and you're gaming a certain player anyway with the play action because you're giving the deception that you're going to run the ball. Hopefully, fully that you deceive the defense, and then there's going to be a guy that runs open or a nut or two that's going to run open, and you're keying up a lot of times the safety. Not all the time, but most of the time the safeties. Um, they're the last line of defense. So if you can beat the safety, you know what it is. It's bad boy killers to the house. So that's the thing about the play action. That's why I say it's only like about 10%. Um, and the thing about Mendoza, he hasn't seen NFL coverages enough to recognize what he's seeing. And so in doing that, he has to have game reps, not preseason reps, because in preseason they don't show their defensive schemes. In preseason, you don't really get it in camp. You don't really get it unless you play in the game. So Mendoza's gonna need a lot of reps, game time reps, in order to know what he's recognizing. And and versus like a quarterback like Kirk Cousins, who probably seen every coverage there is, and it's hard to trick him. But it's easy to fool rookie quarterbacks is because they haven't seen enough of the coverages. Let me know if y'all with me. Hit the one in the chat. Hit the one in the chat if y'all with me. Am I moving too fast? What we doing? Am I all right? Are we all right? Okay. So another thing that he has to get comfortable with, which I do see a good thing about him, is he knows how to navigate the pocket. There's not going to always be a perfect timing for you not to get hit. Sure, if the O line blocks all the time, 2 or 3 seconds, well, 3 to 3.5 seconds, 4 seconds, yeah, you should be able to get off. You should be able to get passes off. You should be able to matriculate the defense and manipulate the defense and all that other stuff. But what happens when things don't go as planned? You got to remember, there's guys on the other side of the ball, grown men paying other grown people bills. They got incentives. They want to get sacks. They want to take the quarterback out. So they're going to make big plays as well. You have to know how to be comfortable in the pocket. And you don't know how comfortable you are unless you see it in game speed, game time, real bullets flying. So Mendoza's going to have to learn those things and the difference between when to flush the pocket, when to make a subtle movement to the left or to the right, where you just step right out of the tackling angle of the person that's coming. And that takes a lot of uh, it takes a lot of preparation in the sense that you have to already be and done that in the game because your instinct is fight or flight. Like if you see these people coming, you're either gonna fight or flight. And in the quarterback's case, he's gonna fight. But if you want to fight, you gotta be able to stay in the pocket, and maybe that half a step is all you need to be able to get the ball off. And a lot of quarterbacks do not have that, and they don't develop that until like many years into the NFL, maybe like year 3, year 4. So that's something that's very, very important. And Mendoza kind of had that already. He's not a scrambler, but he does know how to leave the pocket. Obviously, we've seen him run the big play on in the national championship. He knows how to run. He has that good straight inline speed. I don't know how his lateral movement is so much. He's a big guy, but he does know how to make those subtle little movements, and he's already comfortable in the pocket versus a quarterback that's not as comfortable in the pocket. Then what happens is he'll throw the ball away or he'll take a sack or he'll throw it and get hit and risk injury. And quarterbacks, they get hit the most. I don't know if people know this or not. I know the league has kind of changed it where you can't hit the quarterback as much, but I know for sure that the quarterback get hit more than anybody, more than a wide receiver, more than a running back, more than, not the linemen, because the linemen, they go up against each other all the time, but that's not even a running start. A lot of the quarterback, just because you see him throw the ball, and the camera pans and follow the ball, trust and believe 68.2% of the time that quarterback is getting hit unless that pocket is extremely clean. And to have an extremely clean pocket in the NFL, for the whole game is going to be rare. So that's why you have to have a tough quarterback, or a quarterback will have good movement in order to survive these things, because the best ability is availability. We already know that. So, what kind of world do we live in where a quarterback won't get hit, or a quarterback has a clean pocket? That's not reality. Um, I mean, it happens, and when that happens, you want to capitalize. But when quarterbacks make their money is when the plays are off schedule and when the defense is on their neck. So another reason why I believe that he's not going to be able to usurp Kirk Cousins is because the O line protection calls and schemes. For Mendoza to come in and know all the plays or enough plays, as much plays as like a Kirk Cousins, because you can use three-quarters to the whole playbook with him already. Versus Mendoza, you have to give it to him a little bit at a time, because, like I believe he said, it's like trying to drink out of a water hose. It could be too much, and you don't want to get you don't want a quarterback to think too much. You just want him to respond and react. You don't want him to have paralysis by overanalysis, because that split second of thinking is the difference between getting hurt and not. The difference between throwing an interception or not, or the difference between getting hurt and fumbling and not. So you don't want to overload that quarterback. So now, in the O line situation, he's going to have to rely on Tyler Lindenbaum to make the line calls. He might see some things that he might be able to you know, to make line calls and things like that. But a quarterback, like a seasoned quarterback like Cousins, already kind of knows. So he could go to Tyler and say, Tyler, this is what I'm seeing, X, Y, Z, A, B, C. And Tyler's going to probably receive that because, for one, Kirk Cousins has been the quarterback 3 times as long as Tyler's been playing in the league. Now, if you flip that on his head, now Tyler Lindenbaum has been in the league 3, 4 times longer than Mendoza. So what he sees and what Mendoza sees is going to be two different things, and Mendoza is going to have to defer to him, and so that takes a little bit off of his plate because he hasn't got to that point yet. And if we already have a quarterback that's already understanding that, that gives him the leg up, that gives him the nod to, more so than not, to start. And a lot of times people get upset, hey, why didn't this quarterback start and this quarterback started? And it boils down to the experience. I don't know if people understand it. That experience means a lot. That experience is the difference between life and death. If you have a quarterback that you know that can play 16 games, 17 games, 15 games in the season, and you have one that you don't know that yet, you're going to go with the one that you know that can do that. And then, if especially if they have equal ability, or if this veteran has a little bit more ability or a little bit more confidence, so that's how that kind of plays out. So, and also the inability to audible. Mendoza, his ability to call an audible is going to be limited. And even if he does call audible, where's his confidence in knowing that the audible that he's calling is the right audible? Is the trainer, are the coaches going to give him that leisure to audible in year one? And how often? Because a lot of times we were complaining, why don't Gino audible? Why don't Gino audible? He was audibly, audibling. He was calling audibles. And so, and sometimes it just don't work when your O line is not in line, is not in sync with you, and they go left and you thinking right, or vice versa and whatnot, and then you see what happens. And so that can happen naturally between a rookie quarterback and a rookie line, because this line is essentially going to be a rookie line, because we're going to have a new signal caller for that, and that for that reason. So make sure y'all hit the like button right now. Hit that like button, because we're getting it in right now. This is not going to be a long live stream, but I am going to drop the jewels real quick because we do have another show tonight. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. The show tonight gonna be fun. Let me see what my guys talking about. Webb, what's up with you? More often than not, when the QB gets hit, he's in a vulnerable position when it happens. Absolutely. That's why you see these guys with the flak jackets, the red protectors. Because when you throw the ball, that one step, that one half step or whatever, you taking that hit. If the guy is 6'5", oh, you're a big. What the heck is going on? Yeah. Okay. When you 6'5", you're a big target. And AOC is a big guy, and so is Fernando. Her cousin not that small either. So one of the things I've been hearing though is the week 8 thing, the week 8 argument. I call it very week 8. So people want him to come in after the tough part of the schedule. And my line of thinking when it comes to that is that's probably the worst time to bring him in because you're giving him a fault. For one, you're ducking the smoke because if he's ready, he's ready. Or if he ain't ready, we about to find out how he gonna get ready. And sure, you thinking that if you put him out there with the better teams, that you're running the risk of him getting injured or not being successful. So you play a team that's not as good and thinking that's going to give him like a training wheel. And I'm here to tell you that's not how that works. It definitely don't work. It worked like that on paper, but it don't work like that during the game because what you don't understand is, or you may not be understanding is that a lot of times the team that is not as good, they have a chip on on their shoulder. You got to remember, these guys play with egos. No matter what their record is, they want to win all the time. And if they're playing somebody like a Mendoza and they like, hey, you think he's good? He ain't that good. They're there to really show him up. Just like a basketball analogy, when the Warriors were playing everybody and everybody played their best basketball against them, no matter what their record was, they played their best basketball. So you're going to get the best out of teams every night. So it doesn't really matter like that. And I don't know if you guys remember or not, but the Raiders played a 7-7 Indianapolis Colts when we was 11-3, and guess what happened? Derek Carr got injured. Derek Carr got injured, and we were playing a team that was 7-7. We were 11-3. It wasn't a better team that knocked him out. It was a lesser team that knocked him out. Sure, we won the game still, but we end up messing up our playoffs situation. We lost our quarterback. So there is no prim and proper time to just stick a guy in there thinking we're going to hand pick our time and then he can hit the ground running on a lesser team. That's not really how that works. Because I know I've played on teams that was not that good. But as for me, being a player that I like playing with egos, I'm just because we're going to lose collectively don't mean I have to lose my individual battle. We might lose the war, but I'm not losing my battle. And if I'm a DN or if I'm a defensive player, like when I play corner, I'm like, I got to get a pick off him. Matter of fact, I'm trying to get two off of him. Matter of fact, let me blitz him and hit him once. I'm trying to get to him because I'm trying to show him, hey, you may be good, but this is the NFL. Welcome to the NFL moment. And it doesn't always happen to a better team. It can happen to a lesser team. So I don't really buy that whole week 8 narrative, put him in halfway through the season. We should let him sit. Let him sit. Because we get into the mind of the Kubiak today. If you're a genius, you're gonna see it. You're gonna see what I'm putting down. Let me see. Who said they backstage? I don't know. Mendoza Mania is running wild. It is running wild. You play football? Nice. Who said they backstage? I missed somebody. Let me see. Okay. Whoever that was, come back. My bad. So the week 8 argument is not that good. It's not that strong because it did mess up our playoff success, and it was from a weaker team. So let me get into some. Let me drop some knowledge for y'all. The last 10 quarterbacks selected with the number one overall pick in the NFL drafts are as follows: Fernando Mendoza, 2026; Cam Ward, 25; Caleb Williams, 24; Bryce Young, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Jared Goff, and famous Jameis Winston. Now, of the quarterbacks that I just named, 7 of them started week 1 in their rookie seasons. Cam Ward, Caleb Williams, Bryce Young, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray, Jameis Winston. They all started day 1. So Mendoza, he's not, Kirk Cousins projected to start. Jared Goff did not start week 1. He was behind Case Keenum. I don't know if you guys remember Case Keenum. And Jared Goff came in week 11. Baker Mayfield did not start week 1. He was behind Tyrod Taylor. And he took over, Mayfield took over in week 3. So hold on, so here's and here what this is what's important. This is what's important, y'all. Here was the primary backups to those 7 quarterbacks when they started week 1. And that's what I'm saying. A lot of times, the reason why these quarterbacks come in and start week 1 because there's no other choice. They're last in the NFL because they don't have a quarterback. They don't have a backup, so they don't have a window to throw it out of and a pot to piss in. So they got to go get somebody and stick them there, and they get the best quarterback, and hopefully he can survive. Running for his life. So let's go with the last quarterback to start, Cam Ward in 25. His backups was Will Levis and Mitchell Trubisky. Caleb Williams, his backup, Tyson Agent Bajan. Y'all remember him? Flash in the pan. Bryce Young. Andy Dalton was his backup. And I know you guys remember Andy Dalton, right? Because Bryce Young came in and he wasn't playing that good. And then they had brought the Red Rocket in against us. And I was like, we about to lose because this guy has been sitting on the bench and he's a consummate pro and he knows you see how he navigated the pocket on us? Wasn't running around looking like an all-star and beat us. And I also said he was going to get hurt in a couple of weeks too, 2 or 3 weeks, because you can't sustain that all year long. And when you're an older quarterback or you're a quarterback that get injured, when you get that pressure put on you, they're going to find a way to get to you. They're going to find a way. There is no getting away for 17 games. You can't get away for 17 games. So Bryce Young had Andy Dalton, and then Trevor Lawrence had C.J. Beathard. Y'all remember C.J. Beathard? Joe Burrow had Ryan Finley. I don't remember him. Kyler Murray had Brett Hundley. I remember him. Jameis Winston had Mike Glennon. So that just goes to show you those guys had to start. Unlike the situation that we're in right now, we don't have to start somebody. We have a quarterback that can come in, a quarterback that's better than Will Levis, Mitchell Trubisky, better than Agent Bajan. Um, Arguably Andy Dalton. I'll say yes, he's better than Andy Dalton, but Andy Dalton definitely was a good quarterback. So out of that whole exhausted list, Andy Dalton is probably the only good quarterback on that list. See, he's better than C.J. Beathard, better than Ryan Finley, better than Brett Hundley, better than Glennon. I'm talking about uh, cousin Kirk. So the combined regular season record for all 7 quarterbacks in their starting rookie years is what? 25, 82, and 2. Yes, 25, 82, and 2. That goes to show you right there, starting your quarterback is not going to equate to wins. So unless we're not trying to win right now to any degree, and we're trying to get another high draft pick, which I have seen people say, then starting Mendoza is going to be the way to go. But you also risking of hurting this franchise and the quarterback and setting us back if he does get, knock on wood if you with me, if he does get injured or his confidence just doesn't come. It never shows up. Because a lot of these quarterbacks, a couple of them are struggling. Like Jameis, and Jameis was great. He was a good college quarterback, high school, excuse me, high school. I thought he was really gonna. He's a good quarterback, but he's not as good as he could have been. Kyler Murray is struggling. Trevor Lawrence has turned the corner. That's another one of my favorite quarterbacks. Joe Burrow, he's Joe Burrow but his window is closing. Bryce Young is questionable. Caleb Williams is on the upcome, and we don't. And the jury is still out on Cam Ward. Yeah, 25, 82, and 2 for sure. And justice for 12, good point. Just like those seven other quarterbacks, we do not need to start Mendoza week one. Now, this is how each individual quarterback fared as a starter during their respective rookie seasons. Y'all ready for this? Y'all ready for this? Cam Ward, 3-14. Caleb Williams, 5-12. Bryce Young, 2-14. Trevor Lawrence, Sunshine, 3-14. Joe Burrow. I ain't gotta be kidding. Yeah. Okay, Joe Burrow, 2-7-1, and the season was shortened by injury. That catastrophic injury that blew his knee out and his patella. I'm talking about totally blew his knee out in the patella. And Kyler Murray went 5-10-1, and Jameis went 6-10. Tell me what you guys have noticed out of those records. 3-14, 5-12, 2-14, 3-14, 2-7-1, 5-10-1, and 6-10. And mind you, the 6-10 was 10 seasons ago. That no quarterback gets more than 6 wins. Actually, they're closer to 3 to 4 wins than they are to 6 because there's only one quarterback. Well, Caleb Williams had 5, and Kyler Murray had 5, and Jameis had 6. The rest had 3, 2, 3, and 2. So I'm saying the average is 4 in there somewhere. Let's say 4, 5. Not much success. 4 wins and mess around and get us a top 5 pick, y'all. Do we really want to put our quarterback in that situation? Does Klint Kubiak wants to put his quarterback in that situation? I think not, because he's already showed us what he's thinking. He's already let us know that, hey, in a perfect world, that I'm going to let my quarterback sit. And he's creating his perfect world because what did he do? Went out and got Cousin Kirk. I'm talking about a viable starter, not just a backup play starter. We're talking about a starter that has thrown for 4,000 yards 7 times. And I keep telling people the Raiders only did it 6 times. They're out of all their quarterbacks. 4 by Derek Carr, 1 by Carson Palmer, and 1 by Rich Gannon. Let me see. Frank Weber says their records were more relative to the team that they were on, not really relative to their own talent or capability. Oh, you think? You think? Let's assume that's true because I don't want to totally disagree with you on that. Let's assume that's true, right? So that tells you no matter how good your quarterback is, that if you don't have a good team around him, then you putting him in peril. And Klint Kubiak understands that, and he doesn't want to put his quarterback out there in that situation because no matter how good he is, the results are the results. we're going over the last 10 years. The results are the results. So no matter, and what if he isn't at the level where people are putting him? Because I know for sure people were saying in any other quarterback class he wouldn't have never went number one. I know I heard so many people saying that, including Raider fans. So, but let's say if that's a little bit true, not totally true, a little bit true, and he isn't Joe Burrow-esque, because Joe Burrow, he probably was the best quarterback coming out of college out of all these guys, and he's the one that didn't finish the season. So, um, you might be right. You might be right on that, bro. You're right. I agree with you. Let's see. All of them had losing records their rookie year. Yeah. Yep. So now here's the individual records for Jared Goff and Baker Mayfield in their respective rookie season. Jared Goff, 2016. After sitting behind Case Keenum for the first 9 games of the season, Goff started the final 7 games for the Rams, losing all of them. He went 0-7. Baker Mayfield in 2018, he went 6-7 as a starter. He famously came off the bench in week 3 and rallied Cleveland to a comeback victory over the Jets. I remember that, which can what counts as a team win, but it doesn't go on his official starting record because he didn't start. But he did start the final 13 games of the season, going 6-7, and then setting a then rookie record of 27 touchdown passes. So he came out balling, still losing record 6-7, which is not that bad. The last time a quarterback selected number 1 overall sat out and did not start a single game during their rookie season was who? Can you guys guess? And while y'all think about it, hit the like button. Let me. How you guys think it is? I said his name earlier. Only quarterback in 10 years to not start a single game during his rookie season. Carson Palmer. And we know how nice he was coming out of college. So the Bengals drafted Palmer number 1 out of USC, but they plan to use his rookie year as like a redshirt year. The head coach, Marvin Lewis, kept the veteran John Kidner. Y'all remember John Kidner? Blue nose, blue collar quarterback. He was cool. He was all right. He was not better than Kirk Cousins, but he was all right though. And then he started all 16 games, and Palmer didn't take a single snap that year. Now, the strategy worked well for both sides because Kidner won the NFL Comeback Player of the Year. And Kidner was already there, mind you. This is what makes it different with Kubiak. Kubiak went and got somebody to do this, not somebody that was there. He went and got somebody to do this very thing. This is why I'm saying that he's not going to start Mendoza game 1 because he did this on purpose. This was planned. So Palmer took over, the completely fresh look of the team for the '04 season, and he turned the Bengals into a playoff team. So since then, every single quarterback drafted number 1 overall has started at least a handful of games during their rookie season, who sat, including Jared Goff and Baker Mayfield, who sat initially, but they were thrown to action before the season ended. Now, this is how the season shook out for the Cincinnati and Carson Palmer. In '03, the Bengals record, they finished 8-8 under the first-year head coach, Marvin Lewis. They did miss the playoffs, but it was a massive step forward from the 2-14 season they had the year before. And the veteran quarterback, John Kidner, started 16 games. That following year, they had a plan. Lewis was like, okay, you sat down and you watched this. He played all the games. This is going to be your team, Carson. Carson Palmer, he took over the starting job the following year. He went 6-7 in 13 starts. The team finished 8-8 overall. But Carson Palmer missed the final 3 games of the season after suffering a sprained knee during week 14. when he was playing the Patriots. And John Kennedy stepped in and won two of the last three games. So, despite the 6-7 personal record, Palmer showed immense promise, throwing for nearly 2,900 yards and 18 touchdowns. So he was setting up he was setting the stage up for his Pro Bowl season the following year. So in his first full season as a starting quarterback, so in his first full season, he came in, went 6-7. The team went 8-8. Got injured at the end of the year, and came back and then had a Pro Bowl season. So basically, the more you sit, the better chance you give yourself to be ahead of the curve. Because what you ideally do not want to happen is you go out there and ball out year one, they catch up with you, and now you having a hard time making your way ahead of the curve again. Because now they're going to make sure you can't do anything, or you're going to have to take an off season and develop a part of the game that they don't know nothing about yet. But it's easier if they don't know what you got and you work on certain tools. So then that way, when they try to knock you from off your square, you have other tools in your toolbox to fight that off and try to stay ahead of the curve. Now, I know we thought I made some shorts, and one of the situations that I likened it to is not exactly the same, but it gives a concept. The concept is that in '08, Aaron Rodgers, he had a regular season starting record of 6-10. And Aaron Rodgers, he sat behind Brett Favre for like 3 seasons, coming in and out. He didn't not touch the field at all. But even after that, even when he sat, he still was 6-10, 6 wins. So it's still hard when you still coming in for the first time, but at least you don't hit rock bottom. You can catch yourself and elevate yourself even to a Pro Bowl level. So they said while the team struggled to close out tight games and ultimately missed the playoffs that year, Rodgers himself played very well after spending 3 seasons sitting behind Brett Favre. He started all 16 games. He threw for 4,038 yards, threw for 28 touchdowns, and only 13 interceptions. Awesome season. Awesome season. Proving right away that he was a franchise caliber quarterback despite the losing record. So that's why it's not always important to look at the record. You got to look at the process. The process is going to determine the outcome for the most part. For the most part, the process is going to determine the outcome. It doesn't guarantee the outcome, but you can predict it more often than not. And, Aaron Rodgers did the same thing to Jordan Love. We know the Packers is they use this blueprint of sitting the quarterback. Now, 3 seasons, I don't know. I don't know if I want our quarterback to sit 3 seasons. I don't even think it'll be necessary. Only way that happens is if Kirk Cousins comes in and wins hella games. I would say like 9 games, even 8 games. You gotta run him back. Well, you don't have to, because we just looked at an example with John Kitna where it was understood that, hey, you're going to leave. This is going to be our quarterback. And if that's the case, what Kubiak is doing, so be it. But if we're going to keep him and we're going to roll with him another year. And then Fernando may have to sit. And we should be okay with that if we're winning. That's a good problem to have. Now, how did it work for Jordan Love? For Jordan Love, it worked a little bit better when he was behind Aaron Rodgers, because it's in his first full year as the face of the franchise. In 2023, he led the Packers to a 9-8 starting record. That's beautiful, right? He came in winning record. Now, while Rodgers' first year as a starter in '08 ended with a losing record, 6-10, and missing the postseason, Love managed to heat up in the second half of the season, rallying the Packers into the playoffs as a wild card team and even pulling out a massive upset victory over the Dallas Cowboys in the first round. So for me, I see Klint Kubiak is setting all this up like chess. Actually, it's more like Go. I don't know how many of you guys know about Go. If you read Art of War, you should know about the game Go. But since most people don't understand what that is, we're going to say checkers in chess. Hit the like button if you know what Go is. Um, so why not bring in somebody like, let's say we didn't have the number one pick. I firmly believe that if Klint Kubiak came to the Raiders and had to pick a quarterback that was available, he would have wanted to pick cousin Kirk. He knows the offense. He's familiar with the coach. He's a KG vet. He gets down with the get down. There there there's no you can't look at his career and say, oh, he's a bum quarterback because he's never been a bum quarterback. He got injured. Injuries is part of the game. How did he play before he got injured? How did he play after he got injured? Well, so we're expecting him to play what? Well. Only way that he does not play well is if he has an injury or he hits a wall. Now, he's 37, turning 38. Does that mean he about to hit a wall? I don't know. I don't think so at 37, 38, he going to hit a wall. There's plenty of quarterbacks that's older that uh, that still get down. We have an older quarterback that's trying to win a Super Bowl right now, Matt Stafford. And he didn't win his first Super Bowl until I think it was like 32 or something like that. You got you got your boy Aaron Rodgers out there still slinging the pill. If he was in the right situation, he could get down. He can go to. He went to the playoffs last year. Uh, we know Tom Brady. He won Super Bowls in his 40s, two of them, and I think he won one when he was 38. Same thing with Peyton Manning, somewhere around that won his second Super Bowl around that age. Although he was a shell of himself, but he still was crazy enough to win. He still knew how to play well enough to get it done because he had to win some playoff games to get to the Super Bowl. We're trying to get to the playoffs. We're trying to get to the playoffs part. Playoffs? Playoffs. Yes, playoffs. And I think we could do it with Kirk Cousins. And I think I think we can do it with Kirk Cousins. And that's the reason why we need to sit Mendoza. Because once we have Mendoza, we're trying to build a franchise because if we build our team up first with our bridge quarterback, he knows he's the bridge quarterback. By the time Mendoza comes in, he's going to be so ahead of the curve that we're not only going to win for one season, we're going to win for a bunch of seasons. We're going to be in the fight every year for a little while. For a little while, as long as we can keep the contracts right, just as long as we can keep bringing in players that's fit the philosophy and players that want to be Raiders, we're going to be fine. But we could do more damage by rushing this quarterback out there because it's the new toy. Because if he's the number one, he should be playing. I just showed y'all today, just because he's the number one, don't mean that he should be playing. What is the added benefit? What's the cost benefit of doing that? To win 4 games, 5 games? We could do that with, I'm not going to say his name today. Well, not on this show. I'm not going to say it this show. If we want to do that, we didn't have to go get Kirk Cousins. We could have did that with the quarterbacks we had on our roster. But we was trying to win 4 games, 5 games. We didn't have to spend that money on Kirk Cousins. We could have spent that money on another linebacker. We could have spent that money on a D tackle. I'm just saying. Let's see. Let me see what you guys saying. Uh, no matter how good the quarterback, we're coming out there, individual talents, the record is the record. Yeah. That's the point. Kubiak knows what worked. More importantly, he knows what doesn't work. Good point. Good point. I love that. Good point. I don't mean to point at you, but good point. Everybody is not Dan Marino, who went 7-2 his rookie year as a starter and broke all types of NFL records his second year. Yeah, and also and the thing about Joe Burrow, even though he was toe up when he did come back, he elevated his game because he was really him. But the game is the game. He still got injured. He's still human. It's not college. So the game caught up with him. And now he took it personal and he plays at a level. Now the window's closing for them because now he's so good and they went and got these wide receivers and they taking up all the money. They can't get help. And plus the old line has been suspect the whole time he's been there. So he can't stay healthy. And so you don't want that situation that you have to test your quarterback's medal every year of how tough he is because he's getting injured. You don't want that. So you say, don't forget in '83, Miami was it was loaded. Yeah, they had the Mark Duper, uh, they had the three wide receivers. I forgot their name. It was Duper. I can't remember 'em. I know somebody. You guys might remember it. I can't remember his name, but yeah, they had squad, so he was good with it. So that's the reason why I'm saying that Klint Kubiak has already expressed how he wants to handle this quarterback, how he's going to take this franchise and take it to the next level. And he's not going to listen to the fans. The fans are going to want to see Mendoza, and he's not going to listen to them. Barring something catastrophic happening, um, I don't see him playing. And I can even see a world where AOC plays before him, just depending on when the injury occurs. Knock on wood, if you with me, if an injury occurs, and I hope it doesn't. And I don't foresee Kirk Cousins coming out here going 2-6. And even if he does, I don't know what Mendoza will be able to come in and do better. What's better? We need to figure out why we are 2-6. Is it because we need our defense to gel? Is it because our offense isn't there yet? Is it because we need a receiver? I don't know yet. We won't know, but hopefully we'll never have to find out. Like Kanye say, they wonder what I'll do. They wonder what Klint Kubiak would do if we went 2-6. I guess we never gonna have to find out. I guess we never know. That's what I hope the situation is. Yeah, Duper and Cooper. Yeah, Mark Duper and Mark Clayton. Super duper. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying about Clint Kubiak, what's in his mind. And a lot of people could say, well, you don't know what's in his mind. But hey, trust me, if you see certain things and you've been around certain situations and you watch them played out, you kind of got an idea what it is and what it's not. And what it's not is open competition for all these quarterbacks to see who's going to be the best because they have an idea who's the best and they have an idea who's the franchise in the future and they have an idea who's the bridge quarterback that's going to get us to the future and they have an idea back in the case of emergency break glass. They already know this. They already know this. Hopefully, other teams scout all three quarterbacks and give us a 3 weeks, 2 weeks head start because they don't want to scout all one quarterback. They can scout all three if they want. That's fine. It works out for us. But I'm telling you guys, week one, it's not going to be Fernando. And can we stop saying that? Because the only thing we're going to do is try to create a quarterback controversy that there's no controversy. It's only controversy amongst us. It's not controversy inside the building, but they already know. And I think that's why AOC kind of leaked out and was like, I want to be a long time starter. So I think I need to get up out of here. Or can y'all, if any of y'all need a quarterback, if y'all, any of y'all need a quarterback that's not all in the videos, then come to death row. So, hey, I get it, but I'm sorry, y'all. I have to be the one to tell y'all that the starter this year is not going to be Fernando Mendoza. And we don't need him to be because we're in a situation that it's never been. Not in modern football history, anyway. I can't think of any time, but definitely not in modern football history that we had the leisure, that the team had the luxury to sit the number one when we have a bad team. We went out and literally got two quarterbacks, two capable quarterbacks. And AOC is capable too, maybe underneath this system. So, yeah. If he said, if Cousins get stretched, then we have a controversy. Yeah, that may be a controversy, but I think that it just depends on when it happens. It depends on when it happens. Because if it happens early, then we really got a problem because then that's the situation we're going to play all three of our quarterbacks. Like any other year, if something happened, if your starter go down early in the year, I'm talking about go down, get stretched. Yeah, them other two quarterbacks playing because your backup is gonna get stretched too. Like he's not gonna be exempt. Matter of fact, they're gonna come after him harder. They're gonna blitz him more. So yeah, you're right. If that happens, we're not gonna be happy about that. We're not gonna be happy about that. And speaking of happy, I'll be happy if y'all come back later tonight because we are gonna do the segment. I'm gonna talk about five. Hold on, let me make sure I got this for y'all. I know what it is, but it's five. Let me get this for y'all. We're gonna look at five training camp battles not to overlook. We're gonna talk about five training camp battles that you don't want to overlook. And then we're gonna have that segment, hot take, hot or not so hot take. Hot or not so hot take. That's when I take a hot take and see if you guys agree with it or not. We're gonna see if it need one ice cube, four ice cube, or however many cubes. If it's a hot take, maybe it don't need no cubes at all. It's straight lace. And then we're gonna do the last section, the last segment. Get off where you mad at. If y'all want, I'm gonna post the number. If you guys want to call, if you want to come up, if you want to have something in the chat, and you want to invent something or tell me what you're mad at, or you want to come and have smoke with something I said or whatever, whatnot, we can do it respectfully. And and that's gonna be a segment for you guys to get off where you're mad at. So make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. Come back later tonight. And you know what? I ran it out.
I'm a raider from the Bay to LA to Las Vegas. Recipes to Al Davis.